Hello, my name is Francis Fox. I have a degree in political science from the University of Miami. I ran a business for 30 years. It's still very successful today, even though it's not mine, because I build strong foundations. I have a wide lens and I'm very psychic. I enjoy business. Why am I saying this? Because I'm setting up my company for helping to executive coach business people having to do with this new era we're entering where we have to interface with the reality of ETs. And we should take care of and take advantage of the fact that ETs are willing to help us, the good guys. The bad guys helped the Nazis. They reached an incredible level in technology, and then the bad guys pulled the rug out from under and took them down. So you want to work with the good guys, even if the bad guys, in terms of ETs, promise you more, because eventually they're not really interested in you. They're going to jerk you around, and everything that you got is going to get taken back and more, which is what I tell my followers that are still into black magic. You can achieve incredible things with black magic. Magic works. But when you work with black magic, you're working with bad ETs, and at the end, you lose. All you have to do is look at the people that are into black magic and see where they end up. They don't generally, not talking about the ones in the United States that perfected the black magic with the ETs with military mind control, talking about regular things across the world, the regular black magic with the santeros and the curanderas. If you look at the santeros curanderas, they don't own their own homes. They don't drive nice cars. They don't go on vacation. And their children do not do well mentally. So I'm just letting you know that I have opened up my company again to do executive coaching so that those who have good intentions can learn how to align with the power of the ETs that are, a lot of them are already here, but are going to be entering. They're going to be more transparent. They're going to be more apparent. Right now, I'll give you your first instructions. If you're interested in that, start communicating with telepathy with your pets. If you don't have a pet, then you have to choose the dog next door or a bird that comes around regularly. And then do not doubt yourself when you start to hear responses to your conversation, to your telepathic communication. Don't be surprised at what comes into your head and stop saying that you're making it up. Because my question to you is, why would you make that up? No, I wouldn't make it up. Well, then maybe you actually got the message. But I'm that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm a little bit cranky. I can go out now. See, I have my hands done. I got my hair cut. I'm not a free person. I still have, I'm a little bit tired of the Catholic Church, and I am going to start with that story. I have a lot of stories that are totally true, okay, that have been denied since 92 when I tried to tell everybody that I had secretly another life. I was a mind control victim. I was a psychic spy. I had been sex trafficked. Nobody believed me. My reputation got shot. People thought, and when I said that the US military mind control program includes giving you electroshock to augment your psychic abilities, the only thing people could hear was, Francis got electroshock. That's what they give to people that are mentally ill. That's the only thing that they could hear. I'm a little bit tired of people that can't think or have limited lens. So let's go on to what I want to talk about. Most of you know that I was sex trafficked and that I was with President Kennedy. Oh, that was years ago. Yeah, I know. I'm old. What can I tell you? But I can tell you, and there's no question, my name came out in a book twice that had to do with a young lady who worked in the White House, and she was sex trafficked with him. She was obviously delivered to him the same way that I was. Okay, but this is where I'm going with this because this is not new. This is not my calling card. When I was presented to him by my control very carefully said, she's not American. Now, I had been born on a US military base in Germany, right? I don't remember what Air Force base. I think it was in Munich, but I don't know. But No, I'm not an American. I was made a Cuban citizen when I was born. I had never been to Cuba. My father was Cuban, but he was an American citizen. My two sisters were American citizens by then, even though they had been born in Cuba. I was born in Germany and I was made a Cuban citizen. Very confusing. So when I came to the United States, the paperwork was not correct, and I actually ended up being an illegal alien. Now, I became an illegal alien again in 1960, I believe, or 50, 60, because I was in Cuba at that point. I had never been to Cuba before, and they thought the United States was going to break off relations with Cuba. So therefore, I might not be able to leave Cuba. I had six other brothers and sisters, no problem with them. They were all American citizens. So I was made to be an alien, an immigrant, purposefully. And when I was introduced to Kennedy, my control very pointedly said, she's not American. I applied for citizenship in 88. I didn't get it till several years later. I applied. I may not be correct on that date of 88. I'm not sure, but it was around that time. My husband applied, I applied, and my husband's best friend applied. We applied the same day. They got their papers immediately. Mine took a while, actually 2 or 3 years. Not sure again what date I applied. So my papers were held back. Now we get into the whole thing with illegal immigrants in the United States, who it turns out that the US government set it up for them to come here. The US government set it up to take their children. Okay? Now you're trying to get people to go back home, but you're making it look like we're the ugly, bad people, and that is not the case. It was a setup, and I'm okay with illegal aliens going back home. I am okay with that. I'm okay with ICE. I am not okay with what's going on with our reputation. Not okay at all. Let's start with Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. It's not a state. Whatever name they put on it, I really don't care. Did you know that the Golden Age anchored on planet Earth in Puerto Rico? No, you don't know that because it doesn't make you guys look good. The Golden Age was anchored in Puerto Rico. That's how sacred Puerto Rico is. You guys don't understand the other dimensions. There are two countries where the people are very bright, but they're slower on the physical dimension. Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. I'm sure there's a lot of other countries. Why? Well, was they so bright? Why are they so slow? Because you know what? They don't have all of their consciousness on the physical in the physical body. They have a lot of their consciousness in their very awake spirit. They're incredibly, those two countries, but there's more. Those two, they're incredibly psychic. They're incredibly gifted in the other dimensions. And your military knows it. They love the people from Latin America because they're so naturally open to the other dimensions. And it makes them, when they're not taking care of themselves, they're able to be victimized. But more than that, when the military mind control programs gets a hold of them, they have somebody that's already half polished in the other dimensions. Now, why did we put that little, whatever technology they put in to contact off planet, they shut it down? Puerto Rico. Why? 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 Is a good question. Now, we have an interface with galactic beings, aliens, a lot of them bad, a lot of them good, a lot of them mediocre, a lot of different things, like human beings. If you're going to set up any kind of thing, you really need Hispanics because they all have either seen ETs, seen spaceships, or their cousin did, their father. Everybody talks about it. They know about it. It's not, if you get together for a cocktail party, they may say what their experience was, and then they're on to the next thing. They're not obsessed with it. And they're not questioning. Here we go with needing the Kleenex because I'm talking about important things. They don't question it, they know it because they believe each other, because they still have instincts, which in the United States, instincts have been basically washed out, knocked down. Instincts, no good. Intelligence of the head. Well, Aristotle and Plato said that intelligence of the heart, which is very instinctive, is much more important than intelligence of the head. That's not the case here in this country. So when you're looking at somebody who's not responding as quickly, who's kind of stepped back when it comes to intellectual, the intelligence of the head things, and they're stepped back, they're processing with a wider lens. They're processing not just the physical dimension, but other dimensions, which are the ones that is now is going to be a surprise for everybody in the countries like the United States, where that was unacceptable that you know anything about that. And that information was kept from you, Mr. and Miss Americans, because that's where power is. Power is not in the physical dimension. Physical dimension is manifestation of things. Okay? It is not where power is. When they say in Star Wars, may the force be with you, what they are saying is, we hope that your spirit is aligned with your physical body and your personality, because if that is the case, you are very powerful. Another thing about Puerto Rico, I don't have that many followers from Puerto Rico anymore. I did at the beginning. And what I noticed is many of them had issues with psychotronic radiation. What does that mean? Psychotronic is like weapons that use frequencies to change people. And I couldn't really say very much to my clients because at that point you could have ended up costing me my life, or who knows. This was years ago. We're talking 20, 30 years ago. A lot of the practice having to do with how to do population control via frequencies was done in Puerto Rico to Puerto Ricans. Hello? Kennedy being reassured that I wasn't a citizen. You bring in all of these millions of people. The US government brought them in. You can keep saying Kamala and whatever. It was a US government, military mind control. Everything you're talking about now having to do with the whole Epstein thing, that's all military mind control stuff. What's the overlap? Or is it the same thing? To say that you take immigrant children, you make them disappear and nobody says anything, that's because the whole thing with the veil of forgetfulness, which is black magic, is really, really strong. And they know how to handle it because these people know how to handle black magic. So I'm like up to here with the whole thing of being judgmental about the same people that you trashed. All human beings bring something to the table. Mexicans have low self-esteem. Why? Because they're astrologically Virgo. And Virgos think that perfection exists. It doesn't. So then they're not happy because they actually believe it. Perfection exists and they're not perfect because they can't be because it doesn't exist. So then you trash Trump, Mexicans for whatever reason. They are incredibly spiritually developed. And your military mind control programs that are still going on love the children of Mexican curanderas because their minds are weak because their families were into black magic, which is one of the problems with the United States. You guys are into black magic. You don't know it, but you are, and your minds are weak. And you never even understood that you have a spirit that doesn't pop up when your physical body dies. It doesn't pop up at the funeral home or the hospital. You always had a spirit. And in Star Wars, when it says, may the force be with you, they're saying, don't let that just tag along. You need to be integrated with it. Ain't going to be integrated in this country because you're going to slow down. You will slow down once you integrate your spirit. And of course, that means we're all dumb. Why is the Dalai Lama slow? All the Indian gurus slow. The Native Americans slow as molasses, very integrated with their spirit, very aligned. Spirit, spiritual, This country is very materialistic. Okay, so you got something to learn. But you need to stop trashing people that are bringing something to the table that is really good for this country. Let's go on to the whole Bad Bunny thing. Sex, 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 sex. Oh my God, he's talking about sex. I didn't really, I read like two lines of one of the songs from last night and I went, oh God, I don't really like that. I hope they keep putting sex in your faces because you know what? You didn't get it wrong right the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time. You didn't get it right. Military mind control program, total sexual abuse to break people's mind. What's his name? Epstein, total sexual abuse. Diddy, horrifying sex to break, but you don't want to hear about sex. No. Why? Maybe so that you can stop the population collapse. Sex is an instinct. What the hell is this? Somebody here is saying she's Puerto Rican, Bad Bunny doesn't represent her. It's not a question of what he represents or doesn't represent. It's a question of that bringing something to the table that needs to get shoved down your throat until you get it, and you're not getting it. You don't get it. You don't get it. Wake up. You don't get it. Samantha Guthrie's mom. That is a military mind control program. One of the first things they do when you are a victim of a military mind control program is figure out who is your favorite person. Now, in my case, I had been separated from my mother, and my stepmother even tried to kill me several times. No problem. She was not my favorite person. What did they choose to, how did they control me? My pets. I'm still working through a memory of Rene de Villegas and what he did to a pet of mine that was so horrifying that the vet was like, what the hell happened here? Not good. I'm still processing it. I have not been able to deal with that. But most people who they go after is the mom of the mind control victim. We're going to kill your mom. I had somebody who goes to a Catholic school tell me, and she's very instinctive. She's told me stories through the years that all I want to do is die because I couldn't do anything about it because, of course, nobody believes me. In her Catholic school, we're talking 5 years ago, she had to draw her mother's face dozens of times. There were classes in which the children had to draw their mother's faces. Well, if you're a mind control victim, you know what that is. Look, so you behave because if not, your mother gone. So the fact that they're doing this at a national level with Savannah, Guthrie, means that they're sending messages to all of us that are mind control victims, cult victims, Epstein victims, that if we don't sit up straight, shut our mouths, and behave, the person we love the most, that for most of us, because they do this very early on, would have been our mom. Now, in my case, then they switched over to my little brothers and sisters who I adored, and then to my children. So this on the news needs to be taken off the news because you're triggering all the military mind control programs that are going to go deeper into the cave that this programming thrusts us in. I could not figure out why my health was deteriorating in the last several days. I was like, okay, I've got everything kind of like managed under control. Things are good. This morning I found a red ant inside my apartment. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. Red ants have to do with rage. And there's a part of me that's in a rage because I know exactly what that news is saying. Do you know how many hundreds of thousands of mind control victims, US government mind control victims, are in this country and in positions of power? And you just threw them back. So we're going to do a mantra right now several times, and this is for everybody that has anything. This is for everybody who behaves because the person they love the most, and because it started when your child was your mom. You could say your sister, you could say your kid, whatever. We're going to do that mantra now 10 times as a group, and we're going to help out these people that are still getting abused by the US government. Okay? because that's in the news. Trump is now added. Trump, oh, we're going to help her. So it gets even more in the news, more people that are getting triggered by the most profound mind control program, which is there are two of them. Number one, you killed someone. Number two, we're going to kill the person you love the most. And like they told me when they sent me to Tibet, they showed me a picture of my sister, my littlest sister, who I absolutely adored. They said, see, it doesn't matter where you are. We always know where your sister is. That would have been 58. That's switched over to my kids now. So let's do the mantra that every military mind control program person or anybody associated with a military mind control person needs to do now to help out, not just me, but everybody in this position. And the cults, I'm sure they do the same thing. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill her or them, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. The mantra is repeated in silence in your head. Got it? I'm going to repeat it out loud. We're going to do it 10 times, all of us, and you are going to help these people, including Savannah. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid I'm going to kill him, they're going to kill him. I want to kill them, but I'm afraid they're going to kill him. I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid, switches around in my head. They're going to kill him. I love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. So my body reactions, I've been controlled by that since I was a child. Somebody who goes to a Catholic school in the United States, is controlled by that. One Catholic school? You're still turning your kids over to Catholic schools? What the hell's the matter with you? Where are your instincts? Oh, it's a social thing. If they graduate from that school, they're better positioned. Yeah, in a society that is sick. This society is sick. Sick. Very sick. I don't know where Epstein was born, where supposedly he's from, but he's associated with the United States. What that means, we're really, really sick. You can't show the list because the whole thing is going to fall down. You mean the whole structure of the United States is going to fall down? Okay. So I think maybe the trashing of other people, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Now, I'm going to go into one more thing, which has to do with shame. I had a friend of mine years ago who knows me very well, and she said, you really need to do the shame mantra. Well, okay. You know what? Let's go into either the first or the second most important military mind control technique. Now, you see, if you do this mantra that I just gave you enough, you're going to be taking off this energy off of the entire country. Okay? The second thing, or first, is in the mind control program, and I am sure that it's in the Epstein also, because one of the people said, yeah, they killed my mom. I don't remember who that was. And somebody else said, yeah, they know you killed somebody. That's it. You're dead. No, you're not dead. You're not dead. You're ashamed, and you don't want anybody to know that. So my friend very wisely, without referring to that, said, you really should do the shame mantra. It's going to help you a lot. It helped a world. Okay? Yes, I am ashamed of everything I did under military mind control. But if I had not cleared that shame, I wouldn't be sitting here today sharing with you so that we can make this process quicker of getting out from under whatever ugliness has fallen on us. And then I want to marry. That's so interesting. I want to mention a Hispanic personality called Javier Seriani. Haven't seen him for 30 years. Maybe he's not even around, but he was younger than me, so he may be. From Argentina. He always had a radio show and it was incredible. But he had this like darkness that would come over him and he would trash everything that he built. I had proposed to somebody that some executive coaching be done with him, which would have been to take care of that darkness, which would have included dealing with the spirits. But of course, we can't say that in an executive proposal. So whatever. I don't remember. I got to look that up because I have to see what language I used. His program, he shamed everybody. He would say things that nobody would dare say to shame them. I really liked him a lot, and he liked me a lot. He liked me a lot. He was an indigo child. But I asked my masters one day, why does he do this? He's such a nice guy. And they said, he's trying to kick up people's shame so that they take care of it. It's important that people take care of their issues of shame. Well, in the whole Epstein thing, shame cannot be running more rampant, but it's not going to be running rampant. It's going to be buried deep inside of people and will not allow them to start the healing process. So let's do it 5 times. Because, no, wait. I am sure that every single military mind control program included one way or another, either actually have the person killing somebody or setting it up to where the person feels in their head that they killed somebody. In my case, but it's not the only time, there was a setup in the Everglades when the US government, CIA was planning to do something about Castro in Cuba, and I was in the Everglades. My control, who ended up being my control for 30 years, who was a Washington guy, set it up to put me in the swamp Everglades. You don't put 1 foot in swamp in the Everglades. You don't. He put me into the swamp up to here. And they handed me, I was drugged. But I didn't figure that out till years later. They handed me a plastic doll. And my control said, see you later. We're waiting for you inside. There was a Marine sitting on the edge of the water that I was in with his rifle, just sit. I don't remember if he was standing there. And I've got this baby in my hand. I'm drugged. I've got this baby in my hand. Oh my God, I've got this baby in my hand. Oh my God. But there was like a little greenery tree, whatever. So I would prop the baby up on there, but it would fall off. And then I'd prop it up again so that I could get out of the water. Because my control said to me, only one person gets out of the water. You or the baby. You can't get out of the water with the baby. But the baby was plastic, but I didn't know it. I prop the baby up, falls down. Prop it up, falls down, prop it up. I finally walked out of the water by myself. So in my head, I killed that baby. Do you know how, maybe it was 30 years later, 20 years later, that I realized that I was drugged. That was a plastic doll. I killed a baby. That's a military mind control program. So if you know of anybody if you are associated with, you were victimized by it, by anybody, Epstein, Cole, military mind control, US military mind control program, then you need to do this. Even though I killed a baby, I love and accept myself. So you're going to release, and you can put the word shame. Even though I'm ashamed, I killed the baby, I love and accept myself. And keep going. You may find out that you didn't do anything. I know of 2 kids in Miami sitting in the back seat of somebody's car, and I could hear them talking about that. Killing babies, and I didn't say a word because who the hell's going to believe me? And how much trouble would I be bringing those children? I didn't even know them. I didn't know to say, how do you explain that to somebody? So you got two issues: the fear they're going to kill somebody you love, and the shame that you killed. The shame of the whole sex thing is so much less than the shame of you having killed somebody and it turned out that perhaps you really didn't kill anybody. I'll never forget the one psychiatrist I worked with was Dr. Colin Ross, whose specialty was military mind control victims. And I worked with him, wasn't so thrilled. He said my programming was too sophisticated. But we ended up, there was a conference in Washington, D.C., probably 92, I don't really know, about military mind control or mind control. It was only one conference, that was it. He went and I went separately. And he walked up to me when I was at a lunch table with a couple of psychologists and he said, "You know those rituals with the babies dying?" And I just looked at him like that. He said, "Was any of that in the United States or was that only associated with military bases?" I don't think he said military. Was any of that happen in the United States or on the basis? And I thought for a minute and I went, no, it wasn't in the United States. So here we go again, trashing other people, trying to keep the image immaculate. But once you get out on those bases, and I've already told you, you just have to track my history and you'll know what the military mind control bases are. It's too simple. So the mantra, the two mantras, if you have any humanity inside of you and you don't want the entire country to collapse because of what's going to happen to a lot of people that you admire, but that are totally not able to be themselves, one of the mantras, and don't mix the mantras, you do one for a while, the other one. Even though I'm afraid they're going to kill him, I love and accept myself. It's a purification mantra. And even though I'm ashamed I killed somebody, and you just say, God, this is for these people. I'm going to help these people out in the dimensions where it can make a difference. If you can reduce the fear, the shame about having done something that you probably didn't even do, you're going to be helping this country socially, politically, economically. If all of this stuff comes out without having the other dimensional therapy necessary to keep everybody stable, it's going to be a huge, huge problem. Now, let me look at my graphic to see if I am missing something. Hold on. Okay. So I just want to say that I hope Sediani is still around doing his job, which makes him look god awful. And I'm going to remind all of you, which you don't know, but I'll tell you again if you didn't know that. I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Okay. I have the US map. It doesn't look good, but I'm not surprised it doesn't look good. Um, the whole thing with the Super Bowl and I think that Jesus Christ is not going to be so happy when you declare this nation a Christian nation if we continue, even if it's via memes, being so. It's really actually not being disrespectful, it's a lack of information. Disrespectful to Puerto Ricans, you think they're slow? Listen, you're the one that's slow. Why on earth did God decide to anchor the age of Aquarius, the age of the golden age in Puerto Rico before any other country? Oh, you don't know. Guess what? You're not in a good place. There's not only going to be alien disclosure and interface. The only way they can be that is once you start to accept the other dimensions. And then the other dimensions, materialism, materialistic people, people addicted to intelligence of the head, not intelligence of the heart, are not going to be the winners. There is a reason why they said 100 years ago that Latin America was going to be the center of power in the planet. They didn't say the Americas, they said Latin America. There is a respect and an integrating of the other dimensions into daily life, into choices, into decisions. You need to examine your core values, and you cannot continue to point fingers, or you're going to end up being Javier Seriani, who is accomplishing an incredible mission, but I'm sure he has a really hard time. You can do this gracefully by understanding that what you're seeing on the physical dimension is not what is most important. And if you could do me a favor and stop trashing Puerto Rico having to do with psychotronic weapons, stop it, because I don't think you're going to get forgiven, and I don't think there's going to be any law that's going to protect you from the consequences once people actually understand that. Because of the lack of respect, the Puerto Ricans, and the lack of power, the Puerto Ricans have not complained about that. I feel better. And that was pretty important. Because I was looking at things through a filter of reactive rage when I remembered that Kennedy, who we all adore, and who, under the circumstances, was rather decent with me, was told, he didn't ask, they were presenting me as evidence of what mind control, no, but they didn't say mind control, of these experiments, research that the military was doing. Why are you giving the military any money for any of that? Keep them away from people's minds. Okay. I was presented as not an American. It was obvious I was not 40 years old. They wanted to make sure that Kennedy would be okay because it wasn't an American. Now, he didn't ask, and he didn't want that information to my knowledge. He was decent enough to me under the circumstances, but I find that interesting. And you're doing the same thing with the immigrants that were brought over by Biden and their kids that were missing. They're not Americans. Well, no, they're not. The Americans brought them over. Don't forget that. Widen your lens, and then it gets uncomfortable, but it gets more realistic. The more you trash the people that actually have the ability to anchor the kind of energy that you want, having to do with interfacing with the galactic, don't trash those people, which basically are all the Hispanics. I'm sure the Russians also, Don't trash them, because they have a gift that your military uses. And okay, you lived without it. You're not going to be able to live without it now with the integration of the galactic, because they do have a wide lens. Okay, so I'm going to end it here. Oh, the map. Let me give you the map. Goddamn map. Let me put this up while I'm looking for the map. Remember, the ETs contacted me. They wanted to know. They wanted permission to park in the Philippines. Did anybody get back to them? It's going to take, you know what? I'm not going to even do it because it doesn't even look that good. So let me just show it to you like this. So this one I did 2 or 3 months ago, but it was only like 2 weeks ago that I was contacted by ETs saying that they wanted permission to park in the Philippines. So did anybody get back to them? This is the map of the United States. Let's see. Okay. Mexico looks good. Let me see. There we go. The United States only has a blue line, which means male energy, which is what played out with the Super Bowl and the criticisms, and it basically is cutting the United States. This is the only thing. I didn't want to draw this. I don't think when I draw, I just draw the energies. There is no balance of male-female energy. The male energy was too strong 2 days ago when I did my last chat. There is no Galactic Federation protection. There is no healing on Florida and on Texas. And I suspect that maybe people should be rethinking the way they're dealing with things. And I suspect that all the finger pointing needs to stop. Or stop pointing the finger at yourself. How did this country allow everything that's been going on? How did it allow it? How? And yet, everybody who was a mind control victim or victimized by extreme sexual abuse has gifts, psychic gifts that are totally compatible with the interface with the galactic. Somebody's got to figure this out. I mean, I can talk about it. I can do my executive coaching. I can find people to find natural resources that technology can't find, but I can't do that. That has to be done at another level. So whoever's supposed to do that, please trolley on. I'm sure I'll get over this rage. But honestly, this is a country that was made up of immigrants. Don't be trashing the immigrants. Go to root cause. Who brought in the immigrants? It was the US government. Give me a break.